Once upon a time in ancient Egypt, there lived a powerful pharaoh who feared the growing number of Hebrew slaves in his land. In an attempt to control their population, he ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be thrown into the Nile River. One desperate Hebrew mother, Yocheved, had a son named Moses whom she could not bear to abandon. Yocheved made a small woven basket, lined it with pitch, and placed baby Moses inside, setting the basket afloat on the river. The baby floated gently downstream until he was discovered by the pharaoh's daughter, Ho was bathing in the Nile. Deeply moved by the baby's crying, she decided to adopt him as her own and named him Moses. As Moses grew older, he became aware of the suffering of his people. One day, while walking through the city, he witnessed an Egyptian overseer beating a Hebrew slave. Outraged, Moses intervened and killed the Egyptian. Fearful of being discovered, Moses fled into exile, leaving behind the life he once knew. Years later, while tending to his flock in the desert, Moses encountered a burning bush that was not consumed by the flames. From the bush, God spoke to Moses, revealing his plan to free the Hebrew slaves from Egypt. God commanded Moses to return to Egypt and confront the Pharaoh with the demand let his people go. Reluctantly, Moses heeded God's command and returned to Egypt. He faced the Pharaoh, demanding the freedom of the Hebrew people but was met with resistance. As Pharaoh's heart hardened, Egypt was plagued with 10 devastating plagues, the final one being the death of every firstborn son. Following the last plague, the Pharaoh finally relented and allowed the Hebrew slaves to leave Egypt. Moses then led the Hebrew people on a journey toward the promised land of Canaan, crossing the Red Sea miraculously as the waters parted before them. The Prince of Egypt tells the extraordinary tale of Moses, a prince who was raised as an Egyptian but ultimately discovered his true identity and purpose. Through his heroic leadership, guided by God's miracles, Moses led his people to freedom, forever changing the course of their history and becoming a true hero of ancient Egypt.